1, 0, and go. Here we're live. Um, for those of you that are watching this, majority of you are producers, high-level directors, editors, post houses, video agencies. I want to introduce you to my YouTube channel, Trent. Trent is been with us for about 12 months. Trent is highly specialized. We're going to talk a little bit about his success to give you an idea. For those of you who are watching, on the 1st of August, he did over 6 figures with one project. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm also going to ask him a little bit about his mindset and about how he looks at life and how he looks at his business, and some of the challenges that he's up against. And for those of you that are sort of looking back or watching this, I want you to sort of know that that for those of you particularly in the hamster wheel watching this, that and the strugglings of lead generation, closing clients, doing work you're proud of, niching down, does that cap you? That's a big question I'm going to ask you, Trent, because believe it or not, the 6-figure one that you did in August was actually outside of your niche. So it doesn't necessarily, all these fears that we deal with on a daily basis, as you know, Trent, we speak to about 500 filmmakers, directors, producers across all our channels with our appointment setters, et cetera, every day. And we hear a lot of challenges and things that they're going through. And I often reflect back upon you and how you seem to overcome a lot of these hurdles. I'm not saying that you haven't worked incredibly hard for it, but you are opening up your second office in Melbourne. You are expanding your team. You are growing rapidly. And I think this is going to be very inspirational for a lot of people that are watching. So first, do you want to introduce yourself, talk about your company, where you're based, just a little blurb about you. You don't have to go into a performance thing, but
thanks, Michael. Yeah, so Hiltware, it's a bit of a play on my last name and the different type of media that we do. So big part of what we do is aerials, and the other part of it is media production of all types. We have an office based in Gerringong, New South Wales, which is a little beach town about 2 hours south of Sydney. And then we've just recently opened an office in Cremorne, which is right in the middle of Melbourne, just outside of near where the MCG is. So yeah, our niche is heavy industry, and that encompasses defence, contractors, big civil projects, large-scale mining projects, and kind of anything that involves large civil and large manufacturing projects. Yeah, so that's kind of what we do on the day-to-day. And then, yeah, we travel around the country.
How big's the team?
Really cool stuff. The team is currently, or as of middle of September, it will be 8 people.
Okay. If we could go back to when you sort of started and you started to get some momentum, because this month, August was a fairly good month for you.
Yeah,
on the first
170.
170, yeah, 170. 170 for the month. I mean, a lot of people would just be happy with that for. I mean, I speak to some people that would be happy with that for the next 2 years. You divide that into 2, and it's a full time. That's a couple of people's full time wages in 1 month. There's obviously something.
So it's a good month.
Yeah, so that kind of like leads me back to like, you know, and I mean, the one thing that I've always noticed when we've been doing our high level strategies and we've looked at things like how do we cash collect more money for the month, et cetera, is that you have this very sort of calm, very steady, non-dopamine, up and down cycle mindset. Like your mindset, for me, if I had to describe it to anyone else, would be there's a steadiness and a calmness around you, yet when I look at the figures, they're very unique and they're very aggressive, yet you're not aggressive, nor are you high and low, but yet you're just trotting along in this very beautiful rhythmic space. And I want to talk a little bit about mindset so that people can actually see that mindset is a big player here. I do believe with you there's a very steady mindset, and I want to just give you a chance to sort of explain what is going on with your day to day. Like, how are you thinking when you're approaching business, when you're looking at business, when you're sort of looking at your month? What is going on there in terms of your mindset?
Yeah, so yeah, I guess like cash collected, the difference between winning work, closed work, and cash collected is two very different things. So yeah, we actually cash collected 70 for the month, but yeah, we won 170 worth of work. So
Yeah.
again, like
For those of you that are listening, I often teach this concept of I'm always interested in two numbers. One is your sales revenue, which is signed business, which could be a 6-month contract, could be a 12-month contract. And that in that month, we officially put that down as sales revenue. The second number we're interested in is how much cash has come into the bank account. How much have we collected and put in? A lot of people don't know them two numbers. So I just wanted to clarify that. Continue, carry on. Sorry.
yeah. So yeah, that's the importance of the cash collected. I guess the key one, and then the sales is the future rewards. Yeah, I guess I've been in the game now for 6 years. Having just a get up and keep going mindset every day. No day is different. Like, you have your wins, you have your losers. Like, it's just a bit of an ebb and flow, and you can be happy about your wins, but you can't dwell on them. And same with your losses. You can't dwell on your losses because things still move, and you just got to keep going. And yeah, nothing like if you're going to be happy about it, be happy about it, and then keep going. If you're going to be sad about it, like, you can be sad about it, but it's not going to change anything. So you just got to keep going, and it does become like a numbers game. So you just know if you make a certain amount of contacts and you do a certain amount of work and you meet a certain amount of people, you will be fine in terms of your bottom line in sales and what you need to do for that week or that month. But yeah, the mindset, I guess, is you just got to keep on keeping on. Every day is the same, and you just got to be consistent with it. I've had really good mentors all the way through. It's just you're an overnight success in 30 years. So
I got it. Yeah, I had a mentor when I was in my sort of early 20s, and he was 2 years younger than me, and he was doing $40 million a year. And it's interesting you just said what you said there. Don't dwell on your past. Don't dwell on your your failures, but don't dwell on your wins as well. I remember going to him and saying, "Hey, I just closed. I'd actually closed a 50K deal," and while he spent about 30 seconds on "well done, great," his next question is, "What is next?" It was just immediately like, what's next? It's always like, great, well done, fantastic, next. And I'm like, I've just made 50K. I would barely make that in a whole year. This is when I was first starting out. And I was almost floored, but his energy was, that's great, next. And it was just like this progression of like never sitting on a win and going, oh my God. I mean, yes, I believe that you should celebrate your wins, but getting into that next thing. Let me ask you this, Trent. Do you have any sort of rituals, rhythms, or routines that you think is monumental in your day-to-day success? Like, is there things that you do every single day regimentally? Like, could be gym, could be this, could be that. Like, whatever it is, like, is there something that stands out that you do every single day that continually is adding to the growth of the business?
Yeah, I think like consistency, it'd be good to show you, but my calendar looks like a colouring in book. Like, it's all very much organised. I know exactly what's what at the glance, and everyone has access to it. And I make sure that the calendar is aligned and my time is spent knowing where I'm going. We track everything, where we spend time, where we're being productive, where we're not being productive. Yeah, it's probably like the biggest one is that consistency of where time is being spent. I try to move every day if I can, but work does get in the way. But just being on top of what's happening every day and knowing where everyone is, like not only myself but the rest of my team and what they're working on, and they know where I am, I know where they are. And we reduce the amount of friction that happens between things. We also document everything. So I use Obsidian, or some people use Notion, but you write everything that I do down every day. And every afternoon we have a sync up on Loom. Everyone sends out a Loom video to each other and we go, this is what we did today. So everyone knows what's happening, and like I can go back through the weeks and see exactly what happened. And then the benefit, I guess, with Obsidian is it links between things, so you can see where correlations are happening each day. And just having that allows us to just be on top and be in sync and keep that mindset of always moving forward, and just documenting everything's the big one, so you don't forget about anything. I spend, just being regional, I spend a lot of time on the road, so I just have a list of people that I just call on my way when I'm driving. Whether it's a sales call or if it's just a touch base, how you going, or hey, when are you free next? I'm driving past, let's catch up for coffee, whatever it might be, but just always keeping as many touch points with our existing clients as possible.
Daily? Is that a daily routine?
Yeah, it's pretty much daily, because if I drive to work, I've got a half an hour commute to work, so I'll try and call at least 2 people and go, hey, how's it going? I have a list of people that I haven't spoken to in the last 3 months, and I just ring them up. If I get them, I get them. If I don't, I don't. We document that in HubSpot and keep moving. Just having systems. You fall. You don't win by I can't remember the quote, but you don't win by your successes. You fall to the level of your systems or something.
I
can't remember what the quote is exactly, but
I'm a massive system. I wasn't in the beginning. I was the messy artist. I just wanted to just sort of do whatever I wanted to do.
It's a good flow into, just before I forget, it's a good flow into how we won the most recent job. It being completely outside our niche, being in sport rather than heavy industry. I actually had a meeting with the client yesterday, and we were kind of discussing politics and what happened, and then they dropped how we won the job and why we won it compared to the one other production agency that they were going to choose. And the reason that we won was because of our systems and the way that we carried ourselves, because we're from a heavy industry background, which is like corporate, but also you're dealing with like blue collar, so it's a mix between corporate and trade. So they just said that the way you carried yourselves and the way your systems were set out and the way that you spoke and all that, is we weren't the messy creatives. We were the well-oiled machines, and that's why they wanted to work with us over the other people.
Yeah. So and this, I was going to get to systems, but you mentioned something before about your calendar being just like a coloring. You use Google Cal, yeah? So using Google. Yeah, same as me. Like every single second for me is completely and utterly accounted for. Like this meeting, I've got a meeting straight after this, and then I've got a meeting at 10:30. Like every single part of my calendar is driving or geared or organized to driving the business forward. Whether I was in production, I was in consulting, I had my agency. Like, can you talk to me about the level of importance of calendar? Because calendar, like what I've learned is that your calendar will tell you what is coming in. Like I can pretty much look at any one of the students' calendars that we work with, and I can predict in the next 3 weeks how much money is coming into the business. If they don't have sales calls, if they don't have discovery calls, strategy calls, the fact that you're talking about when you're driving from point A to point B, and I'm going to talk about this concept called if this then that, which is where you do 2 things at once. When you're at the gym, you're not listening to music, you're listening to a podcast, or you're doing a Zoom meeting with your team. If you're driving from point A to point B, ringing 2 clients. I've even got another really crazy one. Me and my partner was late for something, and we just had a newborn baby, and I was like, why don't you have a bath? We had to bath her and feed her. I said, why don't you have a bath and feed her in the bath? If this, then that. So it's like these things is like how I'm always thinking about not just my calendar, but also speed. How does your calendar play into your day, and how important is the calendar structure? Because I think far too many filmmakers just squander time. They just squander time. Like, I think people don't realize that there is a direct connection between your bank account and your calendar. I think I think it's so invisible. It wasn't until I got made aware of it, and it was from, many, many years ago when I was in my early, about 20 years ago, he said to me, let me look at your calendar and I'll tell you how much money you're making next week. Like, can you talk about the importance of your time structure, like, and how much you're using that calendar to structure your whole business, life, everything?
Yeah. So I put everything in, from exercise to when I make sure I eat lunch to checking prep and emails and everything. Everything. If it's not in the calendar, it doesn't exist. And I kind of play a game with, if I've got any white space left in the calendar, I can fill it with something. And if it's between working hours, then it should be filled with work. And if it's not, then I can fill it with something else. But even like trips to the shop, as little as that, and things like that, I always put in the calendar. Everything goes in the calendar, and it's linked in with all my other to-do lists and everything. But I use it to like make sure I exercise at some point. So I've just got it set automatically that between 6 and 7 in the morning, or 6 and 7 in the afternoon are my exercise windows. And if I've got something booked in the morning, it automatically schedules it for the afternoon. Just to make sure I get that time in. Always making sure that I get up in the morning and review and prep the day, make sure everything's booked in and booked out. And then just having different colors set, so I can quickly look at it in the morning and go, okay, I got 3 meetings. I probably should wear boots and a nice shirt today because I'm going to be on site. Or like, hey, I'm going to be on site, I need to take PPE. Make sure, so you're not forgetting all those things. And it's just being regimented with it. And then, looking forward, I can go, oh yeah, I know, like, looking next week, like, I'm away on a shoot, but the boys have more than enough editing to do, and like 4 shoots are booked in already. We're a little bit different in the way that our shooting kind of is a bit different because of how agile we have to be with our clients. We have to be moving pretty quickly to things, so we're usually no longer booked any further ahead than like 2 weeks in advance, which for some people I'm sure would be scary, but for us it's just the nature of the work that we do. Like, we're so dependent on site shutdowns and their schedules that we just have to be ready. And we have a policy that always one of us is available to shoot. And like, if someone rings right now and says, "Hey, you got to go out," like that's how it works. But that's just the nature of the jobs that we do, and we're very weather dependent, obviously. But the calendar is everything. A lot of people look at my calendar and go, "Holy crap, how do you stay organized?" I'm like, that's how I stay organized. It's because that calendar is so full.
That's exactly right. And do you put in like big chunks of time for certain things, so that
Yes.
you're like the gym, making that priority, like client acquisition and building the business? Do you have
I have certain days that are like certain focuses. Like my Wednesday is my like sales day. That's when I like do the touch point, and we've found that Wednesday is the best day to get onto people if I'm chasing people, because everyone's in the middle of working and they're usually pretty active. Our Monday is like our reset admin day. We don't book shoots on Mondays. We've put that policy in. We try not to book shoots, so everyone is in the office. Everyone can decompress from the last week, get all the gear cleaned, and all the rest of it. And then, we have it. Yeah, I used to, when I was editing, I'd have key times that are blocked out, and if I have to go over that, then I'm done. I'm going to do something else, because otherwise, as producers know, editing can get absolutely tiresome and burn your time out. But I've handed a lot of that off now. Like, I'm purely producing and creative directing more so I'm spending more time writing scripts than I am actually editing. But I've moved that on to the other guys, and I can see that in the calendar, that's what they're booked in on.
Yeah, and every single staff member has their own individual calendar that's connected to your calendar, so you can see where your guys are at any given time. You know where you're at, you're doing, what jobs they're working on, what projects they're working on. You know exactly where every single person is at all times.
Yeah, and we even have it down to like their workload for each day, and how much, if they've got capacity for more work if something came in, or if they're completely booked out for the week or not.
Yeah.
And that's tracked through our other software. But yeah, we can see like everyone this week was full to capacity on their full, like their actual hours that they've got to work with us. And
Yeah. I mean, we're going through a stage with Clout now where we're helping some of the sort of solo entrepreneurs, filmmakers, or the three smaller teams where we're helping them build out. We do what we call the build, where we're building out their systems and picking out systems because of this importance, because it is a trending fact that most companies or most successful, even single freelance directors have a system for absolutely everything. I think the quote goes, you'll only rise, let me just get it. So you'll only rise to the level of your motivations and fall to the level of your systems.
That was a quote. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
quote.
quote that you was looking for. So I definitely believe that systems is a huge thing. I want to switch gears now, just to keep in terms of time. We closed $110,000 now. We spent about 3 weeks going backwards and forwards with you, and I know Ethan was involved with you a lot. But can you talk about that, and what is interesting about this particular project, and why I'm so excited about this project is because I get a lot of people that come into our program and they don't know which niche to go for. And I often say to them, the niche is just the North Star. It's literally just saying that you're a specialist in a certain group of industry so that we can attract the top 20% and we can become an expert at something. But I often say it is not going to cap you or restrict you or, stop you from work. I mean, this particular project, I don't know if you can name what you can and cannot name. This is going on YouTube, so just be mindful of that. But if you can talk about the industry and the industry that you specialize in and how you niche down and how this particular deal came in. I mean, it's sales revenue. It's a contract. But these contracts, I mean, this particular client would be a dream client. I don't know if you can tell them who it is, but it's a dream client, particularly in Australia. This would be a very
I probably can't name them, but yeah, it's especially in my own personal experience. It's a big one for me, definitely. But yeah, it's professional sport. We'll keep it at that. But yeah, a professional sporting team, and doing all of their highlight reels and content and things like that. So it's like the perfect thing. It's as far as our if you were to call what is our perfect persona of a client, they're like the perfect example. They've got an internal media team of 2 people, which is a marketer and a graphic designer. So we get all the organization, all the graphics that we need, and then we're coming in as the extension to do all of their video media and photo media during the whole season. So it's like exactly who we'd want to work with. They're the people, the same type of companies that we target in our niche. We want those teams that have either like a one-person marketing team or have a marketing team and don't have the internal capability to do video and media. So it was a perfect example. They approached us. We didn't do any marketing to get them. And the only reason they did that was through our other connections in industry. I think I met their GM at a industry event.
Yeah,
and so that's how it happened originally.
My big question for you is, right, okay, we won't go into the deal structure or anything. We know it was over 6 figures. It was closed on the 1st of August, which was very exciting. Which really set you up for August, because we're very much about, when we work together, I'm always like, where is Trent at in terms of month? So we've closed around 170 in closed business. One of them was a heavy client and it took quite a bit of time to get that put together. I guess my question for you is that if someone's watching this and they're like, should I niche down? Should I not niche down? Is niching down powerful? And will niching down cage me and deter clients? I mean, what would your response be to someone that would be watching this? Like, is niching down powerful? Is it not powerful? Is it a waste of time? Is it distracting? Is it something that is going to stop other work coming in? Like, I'd love to hear something that is very well niched down and the fear of it.
Probably the best thing we ever did, purely to the fact that our messaging going out to clients and like what we are and who we are and what we're actually doing wasn't muddled then. It was really easy to understand, okay, this is what we do. And when we're talking about what we like, and even internally, this is who we are and what we do. It makes it simple. It also attracted clients that we wanted to the business, and without having to tell them that we don't want to work with them anymore, it detracted the clients that we don't want to work with. It set a precedence for the type of work we were working with, the type of budget we were working with, and we just stopped getting the tire kickers because they looked at our work and went, "Okay, no, we're not getting,
Yep.
that's not who we're looking for."
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we lost, like, in the short term, we lost a bit of work, but yeah, it hasn't affected us long term by any means.
No.
If anything, it's been more like, it's only been positive ever since.
In the early stages, when you decided to choose a niche, were you a bit nervous that were you going through that sort of fear of like, oh, if we keep telling everybody we're only working here, or if this is where all the marketing and the centerpiece of marketing is going, like, did you have that fear in the beginning? Like, you're going to lose, you're going to lose even.
There was that fear, but because we kept saying that we were doing that, more and more people kept, even our previous clients wanted to keep working with us because they're like, "Oh, you're doing that work now," and they like felt like it almost leveled us up in terms of our quality and the work we were doing. It is a bit scary, especially like the niche that I wanted to get into. We had only really done like 2 or 3 clients in it, and it was hard to kind of get that social proof. But all it took was like an extra client, and then we're off to the races with it. And because we kept talking that language, that social proof just came with time.
Do you know what's really crazy, right? We had another student, and she took a fair amount of time to niche down. She was like, gosh, I love this girl. Extremely funny, but she was very scared of boxing herself in. The minute she sort of niched down, she closed around $54,000 worth of business. She chose the plastic surgeon industry. The week later, FIFA, it's really crazy, another sporting team, FIFA from England, soccer, contacted her for a quote. And it's almost like people admire people that have a point of focus. People are actually drawn and attracted to specialists. It's like if you had a heart problem, you're not going to a general doctor, you're going to a heart specialist. It's like people just are super, super attracted to people that have a point of focus and that have purpose. And I feel like that's with you, even in your voice and your mannerisms of dealing with some of the intricacies of our conversations and the coaching that we've provided you and the consulting that we've done. And if I look through the chain of communication with you, there has never been anything that's blown up. It's this energy of steadiness. And, you know, I often talk to a lot of students and say, like, you know, people will come into programs because they want to know what's on the other side. They're looking for a silver bullet, this actual thing. And a lot of the answer, yes, is in systems and structure and frameworks and protocols and methods. Yes, I believe in all that, and that's one of the reasons why I exist and why Clout exists. But the real answer, if I had to look at like across the board to all the success that I have seen amongst myself and amongst my peers and amongst my students and people that I look up to, because I admire you in a big way. We want more people in Clout just like you. It's people that are embracing the boring. Like, it's almost like I had this story with a friend of mine. He's a guy called 5x5. He's in Australia, really beautiful guy. I've known him for years, and I've seen him, and he's super fit. He looks younger than ever, and I think he's generating, I won't say what, he's doing a couple of M's, he's doing very well. And I walked along the beach with him, and I said, what would you put down the secret? And he said to me, the money I make is in the boring daily activities. And I'm not saying that you're boring, but what I am saying is there isn't this dopamine energy coming from you where I have not seen any crises with you, yet there was one which we will not talk about, which was just, you know, a personal crisis. We won't go into it. But you didn't feed that energy. You left it at bay and you didn't bring it in. It's like almost like this business is protected by an energy of steadiness, settlement, knowing that the inputs create the outputs. Can we just talk a little bit about emotion? I know I kicked this meeting off with mindset, but I really think this is going to help people. It's like how you approach the day-to-day and the mindset that drives all that, and that it's not all enriched with this up and down, up and down. To me, it feels like you're very settled in what you're doing, and you're very clear, and you've got clear direction to your day to day. I reckon half the reason why people are failing is because they have no direction or no time structure with where they're pointing their energy through the day, and they've got so much dopamine disasters going on that they're feeding and addicted to, that they just don't know how to pull themselves out of it. So I'd love to hear your thoughts more around that.
My biggest thing is you need to be happy with the journey, or happy with the day to day, not happy with or looking forward to the end goal. You need to be happy with how it is, the journey throughout, and everything I do, everything I spend money on personally, all those things are ways to improve the journey of it, not necessarily the finish line. Like even down to like, I bought a nicer pair of running shoes to enjoy running, not because I like being fit. It's because I want the journey and the journey to be comfortable. Everything that we do in our systems and things that we put priorities on at work are to make the journey and make the day to day easier, so that we can hit those goals. It was like, even when I won the big contract, it was like, cool, we won the job, but it was so anticlimactic. Like, I walked in with the CEO, he goes, yeah, it's so good to have you on board, shook his hand, and that was it. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, yeah, I went and celebrated. We had a beer at the pub afterwards, but like, it was just so anticlimactic. And then again, we don't see the money for another, like, we don't even see the start of the money for another month, just because of the way the contract is. So it's like, yeah, it's so anticlimactic, but the journey of getting there and had the systems we had in place to ensure we had an answer to every question that they had, that's where it was the fun part. The thrill of the chase is more exciting than the actual catch. And so I guess it's kind of why people go fishing or other things like that.
Yeah.
So, or like, it's your runner's high. Like when you're running, you feel good throughout it and at the end, because you did the hard thing. And I guess I've always been in sport and things like that, so I'm used to the delayed gratification. I just had a social media detox, actually. I completely went off socials for like 2 weeks, and it's been the best thing I ever did. But yeah, just being happy in the normal, in the mundane. Be happy with the day to day. Don't be grumpy about it. Just, if it's a good day, it's a good day. If it's a bad day, it's a bad day. It's not going to be like that forever.
Yeah, I often say falling in love with your rhythm, routine, and rituals. Like falling in love with these rhythms and routines and rituals, and understanding that life is boring and the day-to-day can be boring. Film is
like, my
is
biggest
not
thing
about industry.
The biggest thing that I hate is when people get up and they're like, oh, the weather's so bad today. It's like, come on, like, just put a jumper on, or like turn the aircon on. Like, there's things you can do. Like, I love the quote. It's like, there's never bad weather, just bad clothing. We live in a time that there's never bad weather. Just get better equipped. And yeah, it's such a easy way just to make everything so simple.
Trent, man, thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm going to ask you some closing questions off. One of the questions that I want to ask you is, we get a lot of people that want to join Clout, but they sit on the fence and go, oh, we're just another consultancy agency. They have a lot of objections, think we don't care, think this, that, and the other. If there was any advice for someone that was watching back on this and is thinking about joining Clout, I don't want to turn this into a big, I don't want to make this about us. This is about you, and I'm sure a lot of people will get a lot out of this sort of interview. But if someone is sitting on the fence and thinking to themselves, should I or should not join, wholeheartedly, what would you tell them about whether they should join or not join, or should they be a part of this? I'd love to hear from your views. I'm actually nervous because I didn't even know what you were going to say.
He hasn't vetted me yet. No, definitely. I think so.
I did not pay you.
We've had, I think we use Clout a bit differently to how others in the team use it, because we're like a larger team as well, and my team comes on and assists as well. So we definitely, we're talking more about systems and how, because we're already a bit more established than maybe the normal people that might be coming through. So ours is a lot more like acting as a sounding board and helping with larger contracts and things like that. And the way that we worked through that larger contract was kind of different to how others would have. But yeah, I 100% recommend it because it's just we'll use it as a sounding board to make sure that what we think we're doing is the right thing. And always having an outsider's pair of eyes to look on in and see it without any of the bias and without any of the emotion that might get involved. It's always handy to have that. And then, yeah, like even now, Ethan and I are going through and really building out our online ads and stuff like that because we haven't needed to purely on the way we're doing business. But now we're delving into that next stage. Yeah, definitely. It's just having that assistance to do it and just the ease of use and being able to just be on Slack and be, hey, what do you think about this? Just makes it so much simpler than having to go through the traditional way of doing it, or you're only allowed to see them once a month or something like that. It's just infuriating. We go weeks without talking to each other, and then we'll be a week of intensity, and then back to doing the work. So, yeah, the flexibility is what we love about it.
Awesome. Last thing I'm going to ask you is 3 biggest tips from a business point of view, from you to your fellow filmmakers that are watching. Also, just before you actually give me these 3 things, if you've got them, I don't even know because I haven't really asked you this prior to this. You would have had time to think, but you can just spit things that have really had an impact on you in terms of your advice to other filmmakers. Can we just quickly do... are you looking for editors? Are you looking for... So if there is filmmakers watching this, I mean, I know you're expanding your team. There's a lot of editors that will be watching this, a lot of post houses, a lot of people that are wanting to get started and filming. Just very quickly off the bat, are you looking for any future talent down the road? Do you want to sort of...
Yeah. Editors is probably the most important piece. Particularly in that social realm. Yeah, definitely in that social space. We're looking for more editors and potentially some more for like longer form doco style. Think Netflix or like YouTube long form.
Gotcha.
Kind of not super indie filmmaking, but kind of corporate, but actually engaging. That's where we're kind of looking.
Yeah,
at the moment.
Humanizing, good edits, pacing, good sound design.
Visualizing capability is our buzzword for the moment. So yeah, making things interesting, making something that seems boring interesting.
Yes, put the zest into the boring.
That's it.
Last final 3. Do you have any 3? It could be a system hack. It could be anything that's gonna, like, if you knew this 5 years ago, boom. Other than clout, calm down. We've already spoke about clout and what we've done for you. But truly, like, if you'd have known 5 years ago, like 3 things. If it comes to mind, if it doesn't matter because I've put you on the spot. What would you tell someone to help rapidly speed them up?
Yeah, one we've already spoken about is just enjoy the day today, enjoy the mundane, enjoy everything that you do each day, and if you don't like it, then figure out a way not to have to do it or change it up. Make yourself redundant is a big one I've had to learn, and a good one is at all times be trying to make yourself, whatever you're doing at the moment, make yourself redundant in that role and get someone else in to do that. If you have the aspirations to grow as a team, it's just forever making yourself redundant, because what you do is you get yourself up to speed to know how the job works, and then you bring someone in that's better than you to do it.
Yeah,
and
most
you still understand how it works. So when you're managing them or dictating to clients or whatever it is, you still understand how the process works, but then you step out of it. That's been a big thing that I've done the last couple of years with growing the team. And the last one is just be very mindful. I guess this is one I always have to check myself on, is like your creative burnout. And with your calendar, like as much as I try to book my calendar out and be busy, make sure you book time to reset, because burnout is very much a thing.
Creatives need white space. They need white space.
You need time just to think.
Music, walking should be a part of the daily routine, because you need to music was a big thing for me. It was my biggest thing. And the last point that you just said about making yourself redundant was one of my biggest internal battles. Was letting the work go and just letting other people do it. You will never grow if you are involved in every asset of the business. If you're filming it, directing it, and editing it, I couldn't agree with you more. If you don't let some of that stuff go, you will never have the ability to multiply yourself and to be able to grow. So making yourself redundant, very, very good advice, man. Dude, I love you. I adore you. I thank you so much for this. I
No,
appreciate you.
pleasure.
This will be going out on YouTube. Thank you so much, man. Over and out. I'm
No
just
worries.
gonna stop.